The same feelings are back. Sorry in advance for my spelling and grammar mistakes. My now wife moved in when we were 17, things were good for a year or so. Then us being kids, and not understanding what it means to be an adult, we started arguing, and honestly things weren't good. It wasn't just her, or just my fault. It was 50-50. I'm definitely not blaming her alone. I'm guilty as well. Being kids, we were still going to beach parties etc., and at one party I noticed her talking way too much to a friend of mine who also happened to be her ex-boyfriend. We left and walked home, where I kind of freaked out a bit, but she said it was nothing. Honestly, I have no doubt that's true. Thanks to circumstances I was born into, money wasn't an issue, so at this time we didn't spend enough time apart working, and we didn't go out alone with friends or anything, so there wasn't enough time without me around to do anything, even if she wanted to. This was the mid-80s, no social media, weren't even cell phones. So they weren't emailing or texting etc. That was late July. At the end of August I had an offer for a 10-hour-a-day, but temporary job making really good money, so I figured why not? After about a week of working at the job, I came home to find she was gone. No note, no goodbye, just an empty house. Her and the friend she was talking to at the party had waited until I left, packed her stuff and went to an app where a number of mutual friends, but more her ex's friends than mine, were living. I was absolutely devastated. It's true we were fighting, but I did honestly love her, thought she loved me, and figured things would improve. I never would have believed she would do this. The next morning, I went and found her and the other guy. They were in a room at the app with several other people who were asleep, and I asked her to come back. She cried and said no. I asked her if she was sure, and she started ugly crying, but said she was sure. I was still in shock, but what could I do? I just left. 2 days later she called at 7 a.m. and asked if I still wanted her back, and if so, would I meet her up on the boardwalk to talk. She didn't have a driver's license yet, so I drove over. Understand, I am not naive, I was not in denial, as a matter of fact the opposite is true. I'm a bit jaded, I suspect everyone of everything, always have. Now, there are things that I could never forgive, if I knew about them. Having said that, I wanted her like a drowning man wants a breath of air. So, I decided there were questions I would never ask. I didn't ask when it started. I didn't ask what was said about me, I didn't ask whose idea for her to leave was, I didn't ask if they were physical, again, I'm not naive, and she never offered any info about those things. We just talked about if we should try again, if so how to make it better, etc. We agreed, and went to get her things, and went home. I did have trouble dealing with her leaving / the way she left for a while, didn't even touch her for some time. But after a while I worked past things, we both tried our best to make it work, and things were better than before. That was when we were 18, we're 53 now, and we have been absolutely happy this whole time. We haven't done it for quite a while now, but it's okay. Definitely not what you're thinking, we were both extremely good-looking kids, then young adults, living together, and we just F'd ourselves out, all the way through our 40s. Like two sex-crazed rabbits. We're not kids anymore, and there are other ways of being intimate than sex, and we are. She has been absolutely devoted to me, and me to her. Now, after being happy all these years, those feelings have returned to me. It's almost like it all just happened. I can't stop thinking about her leaving, thinking maybe I wasn't her first choice, maybe she didn't really want to come back. Maybe whatever she thought was going to happen didn't work out, and it was come back to me or be homeless. Going back to her parents wasn't an option by then. It wouldn't be fair to tell her how I'm feeling after being such an incredible wife for 30-some years, and I don't really have any friends or family I can talk to. I don't even know what I want to happen. Does anyone have any idea why these feelings would come back, and come back so strong, after such a long time? Comments. 1. The feelings will never disappear, they hide somewhere waiting for the right trigger. You never had closure, and now after all these years your subconscious wants one, either open the subject with her and assure her you want to know just to have closure while risking all the bad feelings you will have if it was like you suspect, as well as risking causing her huge pain to relive something she obviously regrets and spend all those decades trying to move past, or try to ride the wave until it passes. Just consider that your wife might have been this awesome partner to you because she saw your love for her and your capacity to forgive and give her a second chance that she appreciated to the level of becoming your dream come true partner. If she had second thoughts when she was young and immature, she matured quickly and became this amazing partner because of your maturity that filled her heart, making her realize at that young age you are the man she wants to devote her life to. I can understand how you feel wanting answers, but you really became a real couple when you yourself decided to start over anew. When you yourself chose to drive to meet her that day, that was the true start of your happy story. I hope you will take that into consideration when you decide what you really want to do. 2. Man, the feelings never go away. Some people handle them better, but they can pop up at any time. Maybe try speaking to a therapist or something and possibly bring your wife in if you want. Or just tell her you're dealing with some things that resurfaced. Sounds like you chose to reconcile a long time ago, and since those incidents you had a good marriage. You don't want this to fester. 3. Why can't you talk to her about it? Your feelings seem normal to me. When my feelings cause me to go out on a limb, I rely on my wife to talk me back down, and the same with her. Opie, she would interpret it to mean I haven't been happy all this time, or that she did something wrong. It would seriously hurt her feelings, and I would rather live keeping these thoughts/feelings secret from her than to hurt her emotionally, even if it would help me. Not sure if that makes sense to anyone else, but that's the way I feel. 4. First of all, you were and still being naive about this whole thing. That's why you don't want to face it and choose to ignore and bury it together with the feelings. The thing is, it won't go away, they won't until you come to terms with it. Second, in order to get over those feelings, you need to talk to her, tell her how you feel, and get the answers to those burning questions that are eating you up. That's the only way to overcome them. 5. Honestly, it could be mortality. Maybe you are subconsciously reflecting on your life. Maybe you are finally seeing her for who she is and question, was this all a lie she settled for? Or maybe it is an unresolved thing you would like to know so you can make a logical decision instead of an emotional one like you did those years ago. Maybe you don't want to live or die with regret. My thing is, why does it matter anymore? If she's devoted and so are you, would it matter? Past is done, and whatever was done can't be undone. Do what you feel you can live with, you have been so far. 6. Did something trigger these thoughts? It was a long time ago, and when you had the opportunity to ask, you didn't. You indicate that all is good, so it's best not to bring it up now after all these years. While Reddit can give a lot of opinions, it's probably best to unload with a professional. Opie, I can't think of anything that would have triggered them. I woke up one morning thinking about it, but no idea why. I wouldn't bring it up to her, she's done nothing to deserve that. 7. Maybe it's just one of those things. We're close in age. My first real true love dumped me. She had a fiancé before me. Apparently he was in a horrible accident and she stayed with him in the hospital and must have caught old feelings for him. Dropped me. Year later I got a letter about not seeing the forest because of the trees, or vice versa. I couldn't answer. This was like 40 years ago. A month ago I started wondering about her and looked her up. I even drove by, and as I did she walked to her car. Why did I do this? I don't know. Anyway, dropped until now reading your story. Maybe it's the same with one. That weird thought out of nowhere that shows up and then disappears. 8. Stranger, you are reaping the quite expected benefits of your reconciliation decision 35 years ago. Are you sure you've been absolutely happy all this time? I wonder what you mean by the concept of happiness and absolute happiness. It seems to me that you are wrong, otherwise you would not have written this post. Your obsessive thoughts, triggers and flashbacks appeared for a reason now. All 35 years they remained in your subconscious, where you sent them with your great desire to reconcile with an unfaithful wife and deep love for her. But it couldn't go on like this forever. And your love is not the same as it was in those years. Now of course it is a deep affection, habit, comfort, but not love. Therefore, with the disappearance of the love fog, the floodgates of the subconscious began to open. And you have never forgotten and don't forget now that she have not chosen you then, and you suspect that you have always remained a man number 2 in her life. This is a serious suspicion and it is very similar to the truth. Besides, you turned a blind eye to the details of the affair on the principle of ask no questions and hear no lies. But now you've started to wake up. You don't say that, but I'm sure that all these years have been years of worrying about a new affair possible at any time, a constant stay in police mode, sometimes explicit, sometimes almost imperceptible. On the other hand, a beautiful shell of marriage, a good relationship with wife as a roommate, comfort zone, good relationships, children, you didn't mention them. But there was no spice that was before the affair, the purity and innocence of marriage, a special feeling of sincere and complete unity of the spouses. Am I wrong? Stories like yours appear quite often on Reddit. After 20, 30, 40, 50 years, betrayed spouses begin to understand that they have forgiven, but have not forgotten and will not forget betrayal for the rest of their lives. Cheaters nearby are constant reminders of their affairs, no matter how they express remorse and no matter how they assure their once cheated partners of their love. What is really going on in the souls of these cheaters? What do they really think? Cheated partners will never know. However, most likely, they do not have any genuine regret, they do not understand and will never understand how they hurt their betrayed partners. They achieved their goal, they received unforgettable pleasure and remained respected wives, husbands, in a secure, prosperous marriage. And what did the cheated spouses get? What did you get? You can evaluate the result in different ways, depending on the moral principles and character traits of a particular person. Some of the most principled and proud spouses realize that they lived a lie, they can't stand it and leave. Others start going to IC and MC, which never help. Still others simply find the strength to put up with it, but at the same time their relationship with past cheaters is not changing for the better. They have no common interests, if they had any, they begin to search for the meaning of existence in their own ways. It is possible that new emotional and physical affairs will arise from both sides, most often from the partner who has already cheated before. There are no recipes for healing after an affair, there is a banal set of tools that will either help or not. You have to decide for yourself what to do, take care of yourself personally,